and cheap wine. We got a podcast of dads who've lost their minds. We reminisce on the good old days when we had hair and our bodies didn't ache. Now we're just middle-aged guys with a thirst for fame, telling stories and jokes, we've got no shame. The world's moved on, but we're stuck in the past. Our podcast ain't big, but it's ours to broadcast. Talking about games and having a blast. The Time Pals, we're just trying to make it last.
Think so.
Alright, are we done fucking around? Can I start?
Yeah, that might be the wrong question. Go for it, dude.
Alright. Fuck you guys. Once upon
This is underscore the Time Pals.
That was timed too fucking well.
Before we start, I just wanted to say the views of Nickel are all his own, not represent the sensibilities, the morals, and the ethics of the Time Pals.
They are not representative of Bay Area rapid transit.
I apologize. Go right ahead.
Do you have any morals or ethics?
Any day.
Alright. Here.
Come on, man.
Alright. Once upon a midnight dreary, as we sat there weak and weary, from collecting sacks of candy, trick-or-treating from door to door, at the TV we stared, eagerly watching the Simpsons and their Halloween lore. Halloween is upon us again, and I can't think of a more appropriate topic for nerdy middle-aged guys like us to talk about than the Simpsons Halloween specials. All of us are here, plus a special guest. I'm your host, deciding your fate the way I make life choices by the flip of a coin. I'm Nickel. Tonight, he dines in hell. If only he had made a reservation. It's ShadoSpartan.
He's like Tim the Toolman Taylor? Or?
Next, he's currently ranked on Yelp. He's currently ranked on Yelp as the second worst party clown. Jobbing Dwayne Macy.
God.
Oh, dear God.
And of course, he gets my heart pumping. He's the piece of music that plays quietly in the background of a scene to set the tone. It's underscore.
So, once again, before we start, our
Welcome to
special
the
guest
show.
is an idiot.
With that special addition, he is a man with many names and a few talents.
Nincompoop.
It's lucky for us that one of his talents is Simpsons knowledge. Please welcome to the Time Pals my very best friend, B-Train, a.k.a. Barn Dog, a.k.a. Kirkland Brand Adam Sandler.
That's Kirkland Brand Happy Gilmore, thank you.
Thanks for joining
Yeah.
us, B-Train.
Hello. And, thanks for that lovely introduction, underscore. I
know. So, if you don't know, obviously the Time Pals are pals. So, B-Train is a pal from high school that I met when we wrote plays back in, I want to say, junior or senior year. He is the worst, but he is brilliant when it comes to Simpson knowledge and little else. I've decided, if you can't tell, that I love B-Train, but I have to pick one person I hate the most, and it can't be Jobbin because B-Train is on this call.
Sure.
All right.
So am I to take this as B-Train is the Raymond Babbitt of the group?
Oh,
No.
makes perfect
B-Train
sense.
is the new you until B-Train hangs up, and then you become you again.
But I feel like we're very different. Like if his plus side is knowledge and little else, he's got more of that Rain Man thing going for him, right?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here. Every year I do a. This is my endurance test. What?
Silver lining is, hey, look, I may only know Simpsons knowledge, but I also donate to veterans. But no, it's none of that shit. It's I know Simpsons knowledge and Happy Gilmore. Fuck off, underscore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's so. I'll let Chris explain. But when I first pitched this show, I said, "Hey, why don't we do Beat Train and like win Ben Stein's money?" And he said,
No, it was Beat the Geeks, man.
Beat the Geeks, whatever it was.
There was a Beat the Geeks.
That's right. There was a
Beat the Geeks was the one with. I mean, God, it was everything except the fucking fedoras on those sweaty neckbeards.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
In any case, that's how much knowledge Beat Train has. So it's again, we knew him since high school. He played a luchador with one ear. Long story short, we had to figure out a villain. This big hulking guy, Beat Train, big hulking guy. We needed him to have a weakness, and we couldn't think of anything else but to cut an ear hole out of a luchador mask and said, "Hey, now you're really sensitive to sound." So, and when he speaks about his Simpsons references, you too will also be sensitive to sound.
Can we
Yes.
get back?
And also might feel like you got kicked in the crocs.
Now that my rhythm has been completely.
Chris, you're Scottish. You don't have any fucking rhythm.
You know what? You guys, I wrote something. I wrote a lot of stuff. Can I like at least read it?
But it's all in Gaelic.
Is that what you call two Irish lesbians? Gaelic? Sorry, Chris, go. I do want to hear what you wrote because I know you put a bunch of really good work into this.
In theory, people might be looking forward to this.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll try to, start over. Not all the way. So The Simpsons have been around most of our lives, and the Treehouse of Horrors has been a Simpsons staple for, 34 years? For me, The Simpsons are as much a part of Halloween as Charlie Brown and the Grinch are a part of Christmas. I'm sure we all got our memories of the Simpsons episodes. But first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. There is something that feels like a Mandela effect to me.
I thought you were going to say, like, I'm the first brown guy you've ever sat next to.
Oh, how the times have changed.
That is also true.
No. Actually, I was going to say that it's called The Simpsons Halloween Special.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's not called The Treehouse of Horrors.
Until season 14. Season 14, I went back and I found it. It is the official first time that they used Treehouse of Horror.
So we've all kind of already agreed that we've agreed on 6 episodes or 6 segments that we generally consider to be the best. The Raven, Terror at 5.5 feet, which is the gremlin on the school bus, right? The Shinin, the obvious Shining parody. Then there's Nightmare Cafeteria, where the teachers are eating the students out of detention. Time and Punishment, which was the time travel toaster.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Don't touch anything. Remember my father's advice on my wedding night. If you ever go back in time, don't touch anything.
Not to cut you off, but that has one of my favorite Homer freakouts where he literally just starts bashing stuff with like a stick.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then there's the monkey paw,
Not about
where, eventually Earth will make a board with a nail in it so big it'll destroy us all. So, I mean, the basic question to you guys is, what are 3 of your favorite segments? Since I'm sitting right next to him, he's my best brown friend. Let's start with underscore.
So we'll start with the one that I was surprised that was left off the list. So Treehouse of Horror 4, which, as B-Train said, was not called Treehouse of Horror, and I didn't know that until was The Devil and Homer Simpson. Mm-hmm. So that thing aired originally October 28th, 1998, based obviously off the Devil and Daniel Webster. Gives us what I thought was the most amazing character design ever, Devil Flanders.
Yes.
Just
Yes,
an incredible choice. Story in general is that Homer basically sells his soul for a donut, and he outsmarts the devil. eating almost all of it but one single crumb. Decides that he's going to keep that crumb forever, and of course, in typical fashion, puts it on a plate, sticks it in the refrigerator. It has some kind of sign on it. I'm sure Brandon can remember what it says, but it's something like "Do not eat" or whatever. Sleepwalks, consumes it, and then now he is in hell. There is a whole part where the devil is challenged by Lisa to give him a chance to basically save his soul. So they're about to enter a courtroom drama. I remember watching this as a kid, and it was having no idea about the actual story of Devil and Daniel Webster. My mind was blown. It was basically Lionel Hutz who was defending Homer, and Devil. There's a classic moment where they're trying to decide like rules of the courtroom drama, basically, and Lionel has one rule: hey, we get like 15-minute breaks. Devil says, fine, my next rule, I get to pick the jury. Lionel says, sure. And all of a sudden, he's got the worst of the worst in the jury box. It's like Blackbeard and
John Wilkes.
Yeah, John Wilkes Booth. And Richard Nixon, who was still alive at the time, my favorite moment in that thing where Nixon goes like, hey, I'm not dead yet. And Devil goes, hey, you owe me one. And he goes like, yes, master. Like, you know what I mean? Shit like that. And the irony is like about 2 months later, he does die. One of my favorite episodes of all time. It's one of the few where you actually see Homer outsmart somebody, at least for half a minute. The only downside is they do kind of break canon. And Brandon can probably, or B-Train can probably tell you, canon doesn't exist with obviously the Halloween episodes. But they do save the day, basically, because Homer promises his soul to Marge, thus rendering his contract with the devil moot. And yeah, classic for me. I'm surprised it didn't make the original list. It was so incredible to me that when Todd McFarlane released the toy of the famous, hey Homer, if you love donuts so much, have all the donuts in the world, and he's on this machine that makes him eat and eat and eat. I bought that toy, and then years later, I gave it to a friend who was going through a bad breakup, and that guy was a dick. So I've never had that toy since, and it's the one piece that I wish I would have kept, because his friendship ended up being meaningless, but that toy would have been forever. I'm not going to say too much about it because I feel like it's super popular and should have made it. For some reason, it did not. I'm going to leave it up to B-Train because I'm sure he's got some information.
Yeah, I mean, that is honestly, that was on my list as well. It is a great. But let's see. So the notes around the donut, there's actually a bunch of them that says just do not eat, daddy's soul donut, don't touch. And he's, yeah. And he still wanders down and sees it in the fridge and decides to eat it because, he's Homer. And the jury was Blackbeard, and there was also the starting lineup of, oh man.
It was
damn it, I actually wrote this down with the hockey
Islanders.
team.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes, the entire starting lineup, and that was also comprised of, and Blackbeard is of course gets the high chair, and, this chair be high, says I.
And, not Annie Oakley.
Yes, Lizzie Borden.
Yes, Lizzie Borden. Okay, so and of course, there's a joke in that. It's okay, so. It's not in the episode, but it does show up in one of the later episodes where it's Troy McClure talking about cut scenes from The Simpsons, and there's one where it's I wish they would have left it. I know it's good, but it's Lionel Hutz and and Marge is looking through the phone book for a lawyer for Homer, and it says your case won in 30 minutes or your pizza's free.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, halfway, and then of course there's the whole thing where, Lionel, and I think this part was left in where he says, he's doing the thing. Webster's Dictionary defines a contract as an unbreakable an unbreakable agreement. Unbreakable. And then he looks around and goes, excuse me a minute, I got to use the restroom. And then it's clear that he just runs out the window.
I do have a whole jury list. Benedict Arnold, Lizzie Borden, John Wilkes Booth, Blackbeard the Pirate, John Dillinger, and the starting lineup of the 1976 Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, awesome episode. There's not a whole lot to say. I feel like if you are a Simpsons fan, you've probably seen it a million times. It's not a hidden gem of any sort.
Yeah. But it is definitely up there as one of, I feel like, the all-time greats of Simpsons at this point Halloween special.
Well, for me,
Right. Okay, so
as far as I can
Shadow,
remember
we haven't
back, I
heard
think the
from
last
you. What about
episode
you,
I ever
Shadow?
watched was like 2 decades ago. So I was probably since as of yesterday I turned 32, so that would mean I was 12 years old.
That's when they were good anyway.
And the only episode I recall, maybe you guys can help me out and tell me what episode this was. It was Bart was in his treehouse, and I think it was like a substitute teacher or something that he had a crush on, and she came into his treehouse in a pretty dress. And I just vividly remember she ripping his heart out.
Oh, no, not substitute teacher.
That was not, and that wasn't a treehouse. That was the neighbor's daughter.
Yeah.
That was like that wasn't part of the Simpsons special.
And that was Reverend Lovejoy's daughter, right?
No, it was she didn't come up much. She was Rhoda. She only showed up in like a couple of. She was the same woman that Marge did the Thelma and the Louise.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're right.
That was her.
Yeah, Rhoda. Yeah,
that's
she was the babysitter.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and her daughter was the babysitter, and
it was voiced by Darlene from Roseanne.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and that because I mean the whole part where she ripped his heart out was more of a what's it called, like not flashback, but like
a metaphor.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like it was like a Halloween special or something. But again, it was so long ago. I figured it was just very vivid, and it scarred me as a child. And now that we're talking about Simpsons,
I like that anything violent is Halloween for you. There's something very quaint.
What's your favorite Halloween game? GoldenEye.
Shadow, just out of curiosity, do you watch horror movies?
Nope. That's.
But do you have any more?
Yeah, I mean, long time ago. That's when I would watch The Simpsons. It's like 20 years ago, and then
20 years ago, you saw one episode.
That's just one episode, but I can't really think of any distinct episodes that really like stood out because I was so young at the time.
So they all sucked after that.
No, I was too busy watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid.
Oh, fuck off!
If only there was an anime Simpsons, man.
Right.
Wait, they did do that. Remember, they did the trip to Japan episode, Mr. Sparkle, the battling seizure robots.
I mean, we're getting a little off topic from the Halloween one, but yeah.
All right, let's go jobbing next. Jobbing, Dwayne Macy.
First off, I cannot afford to shop at Macy's.
What are you
hanging out with Bed Bundy or something? Or Bed Tundy?
Bed Tundy. So my top three are a list of 6 withstanding. So from Treehouse.
Well, it sounds like Don Wayne Gacy, so I was like trying to come up with an anime for Ted Bundy. I don't know. Fucking.
So my top three. My top three are so from Treehouse of Horror 3, Clown Without Pity. So the Clown Without Pity. Let me summarize it. It's a Twilight Zone parody for the Living Doll episode, kind of, and pseudo touching the Child's Play franchise. But Bart's celebrating his birthday, gets a bunch of good presents, Grandpa's Social Security money, but then Homer forgets to get him a present. So he goes to buy him a doll at a shop called the House of Evil, which leads to one of my favorite quotes that I still use for things today. There's 2 exchanges. There's the Homer going in, "Do you sell toys?" And then the shopkeeper going, "We sell forbidden objects from places that men fear to tread. We also sell frozen yogurt, which I call Frogut." And so I love doing that because then I'll just get to combine stupid words together. But then while he's in there and he finds that Krusty doll, he asks to buy it, and that launches into the good and bad quote conversations like, take this object, but beware, it carries a terrible curse. Ooh, that's bad. But it comes with a free Frogurt. That's good. The Frogurt is also cursed. That's bad. But you get your choice of toppings. That's good. And it goes on. And it's just you use it for everything. Oh, you're playing Mario Kart. Aha, you're in first place in Mario Kart. That's good. Oh shit, a blue shell. That's bad. Like, it's just fucking use it for whatever you want. And and then there's a bunch of other like little random things, like when they're watching TV, like the smaller jokes. They turn the TV on, it's the news. It's like in environmental news, scientists have announced that Springfield's air is now only dangerous to children and the elderly. And of course, I love the comic reference when Bart opens the doll and says "Great Caesar's Ghost," which is even though Superman is not one of my favorite things, I'm happy to get little comic references here and again. And then of course, Homer singing the Oscar Mayer song. Like that's a very quotable one to me. Also from the same episode is, I just like a good zombie episode. So Dial Z for zombies. And it's just a fun, when the zombies break in the house and Homer's like, take me. And then they look in his ears and then
don't they knock on his head?
No brains. Yeah, they do knock on his head. And then, of course, at the end when he shotguns Flanders and they're like, oh my God, you killed zombie Flanders. It's like, he was a zombie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doll one has one of my favorite Grandpa Simpsons ones where they pull up the doll, like, that doll is evil. And then they're like, you say that about all of his toys.
And then also when they ask him, where did you get all the money? He's like, the government. I didn't earn it. I don't need it. But if they miss one payment, I'll raise hell. Yeah. The last episode I like, it was kind of hard because I really kind of had my stable of ones that I liked the most. And I shot myself in the foot by being like, we should add Monkey Paw to it because that was absolutely the second one on my list.
Yeah, but I mean, we're all going to pick it.
Yeah. But so from Treehouse of Horror 10, there's Life's a Glitch, Then You Die, which is Life's a Bitch, Then You Die is literally something my grandmother used to say to us when we got hurt. Like, I got my finger caught in a mouse trap at her apartment or at her house in Daly City once, and like that was her response as she was taking my finger out of it. But they go into, I mean, there's a lot of good Y2K jokes in there, but the Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve one where Dick Clark's like, and that was Whitesnake playing, and then one guy's like, no, we're Poison, and the other guy's like, wait, I thought we were Quiet Riot. And the drummer's like, the sign says that we're Rat. And just like that hair metal arena, like I love poking fun at that stuff, and it's just a fun episode for me. And then of course I'll throw one more quick one in, which is Whiz Kids and Treehouse of Horror 12, because I just love anything that shits on Harry Potter.
Oh, right. That one actually has one of my favorite jokes when Bart creates like the whatever messed up frog. And he's just like, kill me, please.
Yeah. But do you remember what Krabappel says to him before that?
No.
She's like, sloppy work as usual, Bart. Lisa's casting spells at an 8th grade level, and you've sinned against nature.
Right, yeah.
Like that's one of my favorite quotes from it. But those are mine.
All right. Well, what about you, B-Train?
We mentioned the Devil and Homer Simpson. I mean, that was definitely on my list. Was laughing pretty. I rewatched it recently, and I still was laughing out loud at a couple parts. And then I had, of course, I had Bart Simpson's Dracula. Yeah. What I feel like has one of the best lines.
Go ahead, B-Train. What's the best line in that show? Or in that?
Die, you vampire! And then he starts hitting the stake, and Lisa says, Dad, that's his crotch. Oh, sorry. I that line still gets me every time. And my number one, though, I have on here, and I feel like it still holds up today, is Citizen Kang, the election episode. I mean, I feel like that one is just still like one of the most quoted, move forward, not backwards. Move upward, not downwards. And twirling. Always twirling. It's a two-party system. You have to vote for one of us. Well, I believe I'll vote for a third-party candidate. Fine. Throw your vote away.
That has one of my favorite bits where it's the two candidates originally was John Jackson and Jack Johnson.
No,
That's Futurama.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I apologize.
but same.
Same concept,
Same
because that
exact
was one of my favorite political things where they're like, one of them says something like, I think my opponent's 5% tax is too high, and the other guy goes, well, I think my opponent's 5% tax is not too high enough. It was brilliant. I forgot that was Futurama. I stand correct.
And I mean, of course, it ends with I don't understand why we have to build a laser to aim at a planet we've never even heard of. Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
And there's bumper stickers to this day.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel I mean, have things changed that much since then? I mean, yes, they have, but yeah. But I feel like it's still just one of the most, not even like Halloween specials, just one of the most quotable Simpsons segments.
Yeah, for sure.
The memory of them in the ship for me is everything, because I do remember the episode. I do remember the little pictures in my brain for sure.
Was that 3 for you, B-Train?
Yeah, because I had the Devil and Homer Simpson. I had Bart Simpson's Dracula.
Yes, that's right. And then
Citizen Kane, and of course, and Bart Simpson's Dracula, of course, ends with the homage to the Peanuts.
yes,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Where Marge turns out to be the king of the vampires or queen of the vampires, and then they all just start doing the Charlie Brown Christmas. Ooh, yeah. And that's how that episode ends. Yeah.
So one of my favorites for sure was I think in the first episode, the first Treehouse of Horrors, but it was Hungry Are the Damned. It's the Twilight Zone parody of To Serve Man.
Right.
Right. And again, one of the best gags. It's a visual gag in the show. Lisa, the aliens, of course, they abduct the Simpsons and they're feeding them all this food, right? And Lisa finds a book which says To Serve Man, and she shows it to the aliens, like, look, they're gonna cook us. Just like the classic Twilight Zone one. It's a cookbook. But of course, one of them, I can't remember if it was Kane or Kodos, but he blows away the dust and it says to cook for man. Right. And then a couple more gags about that. And then finally it was like, oh, we just wanted to feed you. Also, James Earl Jones did the voice of the cook alien on that episode.
And one of the other one, I can't remember if it was King of Kodos, but he did two.
I thought it was.
He did the cook. He did the cook, and he did either King or Kodos, but I don't remember which one.
Brandon in this one.
Oh, all right.
I believe him because he would know.
Yeah,
He's our expert.
he is
because James Earl Jones did the voice of 3 characters in that episode because he did King or Kodos and the Seth. He did one of the moving guys for Bad Dream House, which was the poltergeist one, and then he did the narration of The Raven.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
But
if our expert is done, and he's.
Oh, I was gonna say, I believe it was how to cook humans, how to cook for humans, how to cook 40 humans,
Yeah.
and then how to cook for 40 humans.
Right.
Is what it was.
That's why we have you here, Barn Dog.
Oh, I hate everything about you.
Okay.
Me too.
And you know what? So my other one, and I think I mostly liked it because this is probably the last good episode I remember. And I also like the name of it. It's the I Know What You Did Last Summer spoof. And
Okay.
I Know What You Diddly Italy Did.
Mm-hmm.
Where they run over Flanders.
Yes.
And then and then Homer tries to cover it up, and he's got Ned up on the
Oh yeah, that's right.
and he's like, "Hi, Maud." He's got Flanders' dead body. He's like waving it. "Hi, Maud. I'm just up here helping Homer with some chimney work." And she's like, "Oh, Nettie, you're so silly. Just don't fall." And then Homer pushes Ned's body off the roof, and Maud goes inside. And she doesn't see it, so then he's like, "Oh crap, I gotta try again," and drags him into the house. And he's like, "Oh, I'm having a heart attack." And just anyway, it's a hilarious bit. My only issue with it is, and I think this is really where, and then we'll talk about this as a topic later, but I think this is really where it started to go downhill as a whole. It ends with Ned Flanders not being dead because he's also a werewolf. And I'm just
shit, really?
And I'm just like, this is Deus Ex Machina at its worst.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even do that for Halloween? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
who cares? It's odd.
I don't know. Anyway, of course, the other one, my last one, is Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace.
Good one.
That you can't beat a classic Freddy Krueger spoof.
Freddy is always a really fun one to spoof, kind of regardless, even if it's just like a weird crossover, like when they did Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
The 13th day of the 13th month of the 13th year.
Right. That's another great joke that I still think about to this day.
Lousy.
And then the 13th month, it was the 13th day of the 13th month of the 13th year, whatever. Ooh, crazy cold smarch weather. And then, do not touch Willie. That's good advice. Okay. So, which brings me, or my last segment brings me to our next topic, which is when do you feel like the Treehouse of Horrors went downhill? Like, is there a specific episode you remember where it just went and you're like, I'm done watching it forever? Or did you just kind of start to notice that over the years, progressively, or I guess regressively, it got worse?
Yeah, 20 years ago it did for me.
Well, yeah, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't even see
Yeah, I know. You watched one episode.
Right.
You said, this is bullshit.
So done with this series. It's gonna die by next year.
Not a single fight scene.
I was going to say he probably.
Nobody's powering up for 7 episodes. This is fucked, Mike.
I'll let everyone else go first.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Jobin.
I was just going to make a joke about Dom watching the episodes. It's like,
Go ahead.
well, it's too late now. I can't just come in after I explained it and talk about it. No, I'll do it later when the time is right. And then Dom probably said, hey, what is this fucking Family Guy knockoff? No, I'm kidding.
Well, honestly, that kind of goes into what I was about to say. So, like, for me, around the time period I stopped watching was around like 1999, 2000. So the last one I remember kind of liking, and it was kind of shit, was one called Desperately Seeking Xena. And
Oh God, that was one of the ones I was going to put on my list. It's so good.
It's one of the better ones toward the end. So very quick recap. Came out on Halloween, 1999.
Yeah.
Basically, it did the comic book parody, obviously before the MCU DCU thing.
Mhm.
So it was only made for like comic nerds, quite frankly. And it's, they're using Fantastic Four, they're using Star Wars. They're doing a lot of stuff that now would be like old hat, right? But at the time, it was pretty new, honestly. Basic premise is Lisa and Bart get turned into Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl after an accident with a candy inspection x-ray. And they have to rescue Lucy Lawless from the Collector, played by comic book guy. In the episode, Lawless isn't ever allowed to say that she's Xena, even though she's dressed at her, uses the same metal bra and all that shit. And she does the same Xena shriek. And the sign over her head says TV Xena, but she can never say, I'm Xena. In fact, there's a line in there where she says, I'm not Xena, I'm an actress. So like it's very weird if you're expecting it, right? Even there's background characters that say, hey, it's Xena, but she still can't say Xena. But in any case, some of the throwaway gags I've liked. It's one of them that I do quote to this day. When Bart first gets his powers, he says, "I must only use this power to annoy," which
Yes.
comes in handy for me all the time. Clearly, as I'm making fun of B-Train, it's, yeah, I've got a microphone. It's my show. I have to use this power to annoy B-Train the entire episode. Another one was, it's similar to the Itchy and Scratchy episode, but for Professor Frank asks Xena, like, in episode BF12, you were battling barbarians while riding a winged Appaloosa, when clearly in the next scene, you're on top of a winged Arabian. And then she says something that's like quoted forever. I don't think anybody remembers it, but he goes, "Can you please explain it?" And Lucy Lawless goes, "If you ever notice something like that, a wizard did it." And that today is what I say. Whenever I can't explain something, a wizard did it. My life is terrible, a wizard did it. So yeah, great episode, but just like Nickel was saying, around that time was when Family Guy came out. And Futurama came out in 1999. Both of them, in my opinion, at that time were superior shows because The Simpsons were doing this thing, and they wrote it for like several years where they were just doing guest star of the week. So they would have a guest star, they would shoehorn them in there, and that was kind of it. So every commercial was insert guest star meeting Homer.
Right.
And it was getting really weird. Me and my other co-host, we would talk about this often, but there was a while where The Simpsons was just Homer Simpson's new job. It was Captain Wacky's new job. Go see it, and these episodes meant nothing.
I think they even made a reference to that, like a joke about how he just had different jobs. Like, oh, what do you this week?
Yeah, but it doesn't make the series better.
No, I agree with you that's around the time, and it's probably for the same reason, because I remember quoting Family Guy and Futurama so much more with friends. And it's not because there was just extreme cutoff where, one day I watched an episode of The Simpsons and was like, this is shit. It was just like, I noticed, less laughter and more just like a slight smile while I watched it, where the other shows I was laughing at them.
Exactly.
And it just kind of faded into the background.
Yeah, 100%. Just like my mistake earlier where Jack Johnson, John Jackson, that's a great joke. I assumed it was on that
Fucking
episode.
It's a great joke.
And it's not. It was on Futurama, which obviously I would rather watch at that time.
Yeah,
that's a pretty great one.
It's funny that that Treehouse of Horrors segment is on all three of our lists. That's the one, because that's right after that's in the same season as the I Know What You Did Last Summer parody.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that one is right after, or it may have come in the show before the Flanders werewolf ending. But in any case, that is in that same year. And then you follow it up with the Y2K one. But I think after the Xena one, they started to get more into less away from the parodies, the horrors, and started to feel more like, oh, we're just going to use a pop culture reference. And I think that's where everything
went downhill.
Yeah.
I agree, because there was a while there, and I'm sure B-Train knows exactly when, but it would, the first few seasons was set up where they had Twilight Zone beginnings. And then it was not Outer Worlds, but Outer Limits. Yeah. Then they did the Outer Limits thing, and then they did another Hitchcock for a while there, and then they ran out, which was fine because it was kind of like, well, now they're free. But once you kind of run out of that structure, their freedom was like, hey, we have X pop culture guy, let's throw him in this, and he's known for this and this. And instead of having a joke, as much as I make fun of Family Guy for doing the exact same thing, Simpsons did the same thing too. There's no joke. It's just, hey, you remember him from this thing? Well, his character on The Simpsons is dressed as this. And that was the joke. It would be goofy.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that, honestly, though, Family Guy did it better and did it sillier and more, I don't know.
For me, I think I noticed it when, I know for somebody is, was the Harry Potter episode where he where he makes the frog. That was hilarious. But that was the episode where I noticed it seemed like they started to rely more on pop culture and guest star appearances. because it was Pierce Brosnan as the voice. It was the same episode where Pierce Brosnan was the voice of that house, and then it was the next episode was the Harry Potter reference, which was okay. Yeah, I mean, sure, they're wizards, but it's you can argue whether or not it's Halloween, but yeah. And it was also they introduced the friggin' leprechaun. I think that was the first episode with the leprechaun.
Yeah,
and then he just becomes a reoccurring character in like a bunch of Simpsons episodes. Like he becomes a running gag in the Treehouse of Horror, and it's like the second or third time it's kind of funny because like, oh, it's a callback, but by the fourth time you're like, okay, dude, he's not Kang, he's not Kodos. I don't need him in here. And they kind of started doing the same thing with Sideshow Bob in these too. I noticed
they did rely a lot on him too. I will admit they would drag him out of the mothballs. And so, Beatrice, out of curiosity, like when did you? Because obviously you watched basically all of them. You still watch them every year, correct? So clearly, what I was always told about The Simpsons was a group of writers, your Conan O'Brien's and stuff, they would fade out. New writers would come in. They would be relatively bad in comparison, and then other new writers would come in and like heard the show found a groove again. So as you were watching, do you notice that it's gotten better, or has it just been kind of still the same?
Okay, so I will say, not this last year. This last year was like all I remember about it is that the opening episode, like first of all, just so you guys know, they did away with like any opening credits whatsoever. It just goes straight into the first episode. Like they don't like they used to have the tombstones. They used to do like the like you said Alfred Hitchcock thing or whatever. Now it's just like immediately it starts on the first segment, and the first segment had to do with NFTs.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I'm like, and I mean, like already it's like just within a year it's aged poorly because who the fuck cares about NFTs?
I mean, I do, but only because I love watching people's lives get ruined.
And even though I watched it, I think I watched it twice just because I wanted to prepare, and I still can't remember the other two episodes off the top of my head or the other two segments because they were just not that memorable.
Right.
But the one before that was actually. Oh, I take that back. This was like goes back to what I was saying about how they kind of bring Sideshow Bob back a lot in these episodes. And they did one where it was they kind of went back to there's like an episode where not a Treehouse of Horror, but one where Bart the Simpson family goes into witness protection and they go on the houseboat.
Of course, classic. Yeah, classic.
And in this Treehouse of Horror, it's like an alternate reality where Sideshow Bob actually kills Bart.
Huh.
And so Lisa grows up to be a like detective or like super crime solver. Sideshow Bob is in prison. It's basically, Sideshow Bob is Hannibal Lecter. Lisa's, Clarice Starling, and has to go to him to help solve murders, And there was one joke in there that actually kind of made me chuckle. It was Sideshow Bob says something about, you need to find I can't feed you all the answers. There's no anagram, blah, 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 whatever. And then later on in the episode, somebody dies and Lisa says something like, wait, Sideshow Bob mentioned an anagram. And, and she writes something in the book and goes, of course, it all makes sense. And then the next scene cuts away to the anagram spooky slaughterhouse. And I will admit that made me laugh because I'm like, you're thinking like it's going to be an anagram, like some stupid anagram, but it's just the name of the slaughterhouse is anagram, But that's the only.
Feel like a Family Guy joke to you. It doesn't.
Yeah,
feel like
exactly. But that's the only reason I remember that segment. Like if that joke wasn't in there, I would have forgotten it. But the episode before that, I will say it wasn't horrible. It was, what was it? It was like Death Note was one of the episodes.
I hate Death Note so much. It's the worst.
Which was kind of funny to see them experiment with different animation style, because when they did the Death Note episode, they did like kind of an anime style. So like they all look yeah. And I know, yeah. But But there was also a joke in there that kind of got me chuckling, is because Lisa has to kill a bunch of people, and they're just showing like a montage of, and she can't kill the same person the same way, or she can't kill two people the same way, right? And so at one point, it's she kills somebody with a toilet gator, and the demon is like, really, a toilet gator? Just cut me a break, I'm trying my best. And then the montage continues, and then the next, like one of the other ones is a lion pops out of a toilet and kills somebody. I'm like, okay, then. Like that was a good callback.
These are family nuggets, so these are straight up.
Yeah, they also do the Babadook, I think, was in that episode. They made fun of that. It's called the Poopadook.
Talking about way.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I get it. You can't keep referencing like things that came out like 50 years ago, right? You need you need new material if you want to, like new horror movies if you want to try to keep going. And so, they did they did the Babadook, which was kind of funny. Like there's a couple jokes in there that made me chuckle. They did Westworld, which sounds stupid, but they kind of, made it.
Is that horror, or is that just a pop culture reference?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. It's like, is it, yeah, they made it, they definitely had death in it. And there's, it was kind of humorous, but it was, I will say, out of the recent episodes, the year before last was probably better, like the best, because I think before that it was like they did the Hunger Games, which was not whatever.
Yeah.
Again, pop culture, not
horror.
And I don't.
Not to cut you off, B-Train, but when it came to the violence, you can probably tell me the year, but there was one year where they did that famous bit where the censor starts striking out Simpsons stuff.
Yeah.
Now start stabbing him.
And I want to say that was close to.
That was close to there. And that year, the Simpsons writers were like, we're going to make the most violent episode we could. So, like, blood was everywhere. That was the one where Chris mentioned, I forget the name of the episode, but the one where the Simpsons children are about to be eaten and they fall on the big grinder and stuff.
Oh, the cafeteria.
Thank you.
Was that the same one? Because that's also the sinning episode.
Yeah, it was that season. That season was classic, and that was. We're just gonna do everything we can to just make everybody mad. And to me, that's what's missing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, no, I was even gonna. I have this in my notes that like in like days of Simpson yore, if you will, like on the Treehouse of Horror or Halloween special, Marge would or somebody would come out and be like, "Oh, the censors have recommended that we not show this, so that if you have small kids, you tune away," They would always do like a kind of basically making fun of like concerned parents, right? Like, and they don't do that anymore. It's kind of become passe, I guess. But like, they don't.
Well, I think it's just that it's so tame now compared to other stuff on TV.
That was kind of what kind of gave it that special feeling. It's like, oh, you're not supposed to be watching this as a kid, right? They had that opening where it's like, oh yeah, no, if you're a small child, you shouldn't be watching this. Why are your parents letting you watch this? And it's like, oh cool, I get to watch something that I'm not supposed to. Now it's just like, whatever. Let's throw in pop culture. One of the recent ones was they did the multiverse with Homer, and so there was like, oh yeah, no, I actually did make a note about this because this was like This was when you knew Disney bought Fox. This was the episode where Disney bought Fox because the first episode was this Toy Story ripoff.
Oh, okay.
Then they had one where Homer goes in the multiverse, and one of his multiverse counterparts is a Disney princess, and then Mr. Burns is like Maleficent, I think, or something like he's one of the witches.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah, It was like. I was like, oh, this is the episode where Disney bought Fox, and they're casting.
Now we're gonna use these references.
Yeah. Now, cool. We can use Disney reference, and it's like, okay, make it clever.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going to. We're just gonna be straight up, just be like, yeah. Oh,
you had notes about this?
I did.
Is your heart racing and you're drooling right now?
I'm always drooling, but yeah.
This is your moment to shine. I just realized that this is everything for you. You're about to be broadcast to dozens and dozens of people.
This is the highlight of my life. I will never go further than this moment.
I just want to tell you, you can step away from the microphone so we don't hear your heartbeat.
Oh man! Oh, that was another thing. I'm sorry, I wrote this down about like I forget what it was, but they're making fun about how like Krusty had to find like different sources of meat for his burger, and so they just show like the scene where like a bunch of like it's like a bunch of different exotic animals are being like brought into the Krusty burger, and and I think Gil is one of the people that they're like fucking Gil, yeah. But I'm watching it, I'm like, no, this is a reused joke. They already did this joke in like an earlier, better season where it was like Ion Springfield, and it was Kent Brockman recording like Krusty bringing in a bunch of different zoo animals into his Krusty burger. Yeah, and then Krusty runs up to him and like gets the camera out of the way. I'm like, no, they reused this joke from an earlier, better episode for this Halloween special. And I'm like, man, that's like how far do you have to fall to reuse?
After this long, they probably forgot. But basically, it sounds like the Simpsons got themselves with the old Simpsons did it first.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I feel like sometimes, a lot of the time, is that they are just, they're recycling their own joke, and it's not creative. And, again, as far as the Halloween episodes are concerned, it's like it's pop culture. They're not doing anything horror related. It's just pop culture reference. Anyway, Shadow, if you remember anything and you have anything to say about it.
Just skip me. I'm just here for the ride.
Nope.
Good question.
Shadow, why are you even here?
Yeah.
You're fucking wasting.
We'll talk about League of Legends next episode. Don't even worry, dude. I got you. Counter-Strike? I'm sorry. We'll talk about Counter-Strike.
Anyway, I think we could fill up a few more minutes with a little bit of Halloween Treehouse of Horrors Simpsons special quiz questions.
Are we directing it just at B-Train?
I'm gonna give you guys a chance to answer, and then we'll have the nerd come in and be like, actually.
Okay, go for it. How many you got?
That's one of my favorite game shows, is the Actually show. Have you guys see? That's an actual game show on. It used to be College Humor, and now it's Dropout.
Yep. So I got 5, but I think I'm gonna start off. Well, I got 4 questions. Okay, so Shadow, you're more than welcome to try, but this one's mostly for everybody but Barn Dog for now. But if they don't know, then Barn Dog can come in and be like, no, actually. So, in Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace, right, the Freddy Krueger one, for what reason was the ill-fated PTA meeting called?
God, you're doing some fucking deep cuts, aren't you?
For what reason was the ill-fated PTA meeting that resulted in Willie's death called?
Oh, God damn it, I knew this.
I feel like we actually gave the answer.
No, not quite. Sort of. We hinted at it.
The part of it was the calendar thing, but wasn't there another part to that? Or am I wrong? Wasn't that only part of it?
You're on the right track. I am looking for a specific.
I remember the calendar thing. I don't remember what the joke is. I don't remember the joke is. Okay. Other than the smarts thing, there's like a date thing, right?
Well, Javin?
No, man. I
Okay.
Go ahead, B-Train, because I don't remember the exact wording of it.
They were there to discuss the misprinted calendar.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Wasn't there? Didn't they point to a date too?
Yeah, they did. They said we were there to discuss the 13th hour on the 13th hour of the 13th day of the 13th month. There is no 13th month. They had to discuss the misprinted calendars. I missed that part
because I was out of the room. But yeah, that's.
But to be fair, what led to Willie's downfall is they were also discussing the budget.
Right. Gotcha.
Because they wanted, the joke was, $2 for doorknob replacements, and Willie goes to hit the doorknob and it falls apart in his hand.
Yes.
And he goes, fire extinguisher refills. This is a free service provided by, and then everyone's like, nay, and then he hits the fire extinguisher and it doesn't do anything, so he dies.
In my mind's eye, I remember the calendar being the first joke, but the bit went longer.
Okay.
But but Marge specifically says they were there to discuss the misprinted
Okay,
calendars.
I got you.
Now, underscore is correct in a certain way, okay? Because for a bonus point, Barn Dog, what was when Willie busts into the classroom on fire? What was Milhouse's dad complaining about?
Not having the lunch schedule because he doesn't like the idea of Milhouse having, I believe it was spaghetti. Was it 2 spaghetti meals on the same day?
Hey, that was that episode? God damn it, I remember that line.
And he's on fire, and you know, Skinner tells him, "Please, Mr. Van Helton has the floor. Take a seat."
And he does. Oh, I forgot. I didn't know that was that episode. It was a Halloween episode? God, they were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next one. This one's actually one of my favorite questions here. According to the segment, The Thing and I, where Bart has the Siamese twin,
Yes.
right? That was kept up in the attic. Which twin is always the evil?
Bart's always the evil
Bart.
one.
No, but what side?
Ooh, I don't remember the side. I remember Pigeon Rat.
Yeah. I hope he asks us what the twin made.
I don't remember the side.
So
on that.
Dr. Hibbard says,
Isn't it weird how the left twin is always the evil one?
"Oh, Barn Dog, you
Oh.
champ, man."
Oh, God damn it, man.
Oh, man.
And also, there was actually a joke I wrote down that I missed. Like, I don't know how I missed it for so long. But in order to determine whether or not Bart's twin was evil, he does a soul smear.
Soul smear.
Really?
Instead of a pap smear.
Yeah, instead of a pap smear, he does a soul
I
smear.
remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I
that
remember
either.
the picture frame punch.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Look, you've probably never seen your own reflection. Bam.
That's one of my favorite bits ever.
Yeah. All right. You know what? We'll okay. We this is a 2-parter, so we'll end on this one. Okay. So again, Barn Dog, sit this one out. Let's see if anybody knows it. In The Shinin, or The Shining.
You don't want to get sued.
In The Shinin, what floor does the blood usually get off on?
I don't remember the line.
What, 69?
That's a really good guess.
No, because it's because the house is only like what 4 or 5 stories. I want to say it's like the 4th floor or something, right? For some reason, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I feel like it's the 4th floor.
No, sorry. I know it's an obscure question, but this was designed to fool you guys, so we could let Barn Dog.
But yeah, B-Train will know.
get his.
B-Train gets the shine. I get it.
All
Go
right.
ahead, B-Train.
All right, B-Train. Let's see your shinning.
That's odd. The blood usually gets off on the 2nd floor.
2nd floor. My number was divisible by 2. I get partial credit.
For the record, I like ShadoSpartan's idea. better.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want any
okay.
blood-related 69s. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
Floor 69 or 420? Which one?
Okay, so a follow-up question. When Mr. Burns, in the same episode, when Mr. Burns was taking the family on the tour, he says the lodge was also the setting of 5 Christmas special. For what singer? Give you a hint.
Donny Osborne.
What country singer?
Dolly Parton.
Oh, God, that's right. It is Dolly Parton.
No.
It's a trick
Oh,
question.
shit.
It's close. I mean, it's sort of close. I mean, it's a country singer.
It's one of those poppy ones. God.
Yeah. What if I...
Conway Twitty.
Wait. Is it a real country music singer or is it a Simpsons country music singer?
Oh, good question. It is a real
It's
one.
real. It's
a
real.
real one.
I kind of vaguely remember the line, but I don't remember.
Oh, okay, damn. I was going to say, otherwise, is it a reference to Lurleen? But that was way too late compared to that episode. The Lurleen episode happened way after, so never mind. Shit. Okay.
It's a real one. Do you any last guess, Jobin?
No, that's all I got, man.
All right, Barn Dog, you're up.
I believe it was satanic rituals, witch burnings, and 5 John Denver
John
Christmas.
Denver. I knew it was something like that. It was like a super clean poppy singer. God damn it. Oh, that was a good one because my brain was just like, who was super clean back then? So I went Donny Osborne.
No,
Right?
Yeah, but it was something like that. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Good. All right, there you go. B-Train, you got to flex.
This will be the only test that I'll ever pass in my life.
No, this will exist on the internet forever unless I edit you out entirely somehow. I'm gonna try.
You know what? It's gonna be. I'm gonna be edited out, and it's gonna be underscore like doing the answers.
Oh no, I'm gonna re-record my voice being like, I'm hella smart.
Record my bit. Oh yes, Chris. I believe the answer is.
Even better, I'll have Shadow, who watched one episode his whole life, just guess the answer and be right.
Just
every
re-record
time.
on a different day. Here, just say this. Just say exactly this answer.
Exactly. I'm about to slaughter all your fatted calves. Here's what your old ass motherfuckers. How easy your jokes are.
I'm not making it into this podcast, am I? I'm completely edited out, aren't I?
All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for today. B-Train, thank you very much for being our special
Don't
guest.
encourage him.
And
Thank you for having me.
I mean special in that different.
It was.
I did ride the short bus to get here.
You are good every
It
Halloween.
was great to have you while it lasted.
Think about that for a second. Every Halloween we need you. You're the worst Batman.
Does that mean he's Batfleck?
Hey,
Yes.
the worst Batman is still Batman.
I won't argue with you.
Man, I'm telling the Snyderverse fans you said that.
Yeah. Oh no. Don't get the Snyderverse guy.
Oh no! Don't get Snyder. I don't want to be raped by Zack Snyder.
God.
Don't give Shadow anything. Shadow is the biggest Zack Snyder fan I've ever met in my entire life. He can do no wrong. You're never gonna. I'm taking him to Nerd Court in a future episode, wink, wink, where I'm gonna defend Vince McMahon as being less of a monster than Zack Snyder.
I don't know, man.
I'll support
After
you
the
on that.
documentary, I don't know if that's a thing you can do anymore.
All Vince liked was
Right.
sex and cocaine. You know what I mean? Like, I can live with that. Zack Snyder likes ruining people's lives.
I mean, Zack Snyder's a fan of Ayn Rand, and I feel like that's all you need to know.
Thank you, B-Train. Jobbing, fuck yourself.
It's amazing.
So, for underscore and the rest of the Time Palace, thank you very much. B-Train, you've slowly become a better person in my eyes because you agree with me that Snyderverse is terrible. Dom and Jobbin, I hope you find yourself a new podcast.
That's fair.
Be ready for my latest video on October 31st. You're all going to love it.
Anybody have anything to plug other than Shadow?
Yeah, that's it.
No, just share the podcast with your friends,
Right.
assholes.
City life? I don't know.
Donate.
No, I'm serious. I don't care about being nice. Fuck you guys. You fucking
Oh yeah,
listeners.
if you guys want to donate to me, I don't have a charity, but you could just like send me money. That's fine.
And give me all your fucking bitcoins.
Just sell me. I'm fine with
Right
that.
here to take my worthless trash. Underscore rest of the Time Pals. We'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, Jobbin from the Time Palace here. Just wanted to give a shout out to my partners over at Legendary Supplements and the Legendary Legion. Their KRAKEN Intense Focus Blizzard Mojito flavor is something I've been using all week to focus on my work and get it done quickly and efficiently. It is a nice, cool, citrusy blast and provides a nice, clean energy that focuses on mental clarity as opposed to physical energy. So no crash, no jitters, and the benefits speak for themselves. I definitely suggest you try it, and we have a code for you to try at checkout. Just punch in Time Pals.